Hello everybody, welcome back to Neoquest 2. Alright, so we are on our way to the second fairy thief fight. Lucina's giving us a hint. She says, I saw the fairy thief fly past just a few minutes ago. She was heading west. I think she may have gone into one of the buildings in that direction. Lucky for us, we have the Jelly Neo maps. I really stand by the fact that I think this game would be completely unplayable without the maps. I think if I was approaching this game for the first time now, I would be more hesitant to use a map because that's just how I approach most games in general now. Like, I usually don't try to consult a guide until I get stuck or whatever. But as a kid, I had no reservation about it at all. I would buy the game and I'd buy the guide with it, and I would just follow the guide through as I played the game. I did the same thing with Neoquest. I just opened up the maps and I just followed them. And I think that made the game a lot more enjoyable because this would be really bad without the maps. It's really unclear where to go a lot of the time, and because the page has to load every time, it can take forever, especially back then. This is nothing compared to how long page loads would take back then. So yeah, I don't think I would have enjoyed it nearly as much without those maps. So we did the first fairy thief fight, and she left very suddenly. I think I didn't see how much damage I did in the last turn, but I'm guessing I got her below 900, and that was the cutoff. So I'm gonna guess this one it's gonna take about half. So we'll see. All I did was walk down. I should take one of these guys out. All I did was walk down from where the first fight was, back down to the entrance, which actually took a bit of time. And I got a level. I got up to the next level from that on, I think, everybody. So we're at 51 now. Wonder if Jelly Neo's recommendation was more for like the fairy thief fights as a whole, or what? I guess we'll see. Let's see, on the second fight, they still recommend the same level, so that might just be the fights as a whole. I could see that being the recommended level for like the last fight. Obviously, that first fight was like nothing though. Like, all we had to do was 300 damage. She did do a lot of damage to me though, so I guess I shouldn't say it was nothing. I very easily could have died if she, or not everybody, but like Velm could have died if she would have just attacked Velm again. So in a full fight, I could see that being a problem, but I think we were getting into a rhythm, and it wasn't going to be an issue once I got all my buffs and I slowed her and all that. So I'm hoping between that and the maybe possibly like one more level we get by the time we get to her that I won't need to grind. So I remember, I didn't look ahead, but I remember the Fairy Thief fights and the Pant Devil fights and the Tarrasque fights. I can't remember if I'm missing anybody though. I don't remember anybody else, so I guess we'll see when we get there. So hurricane potions are doing pretty good. When I was walking down to the entrance, one thing that really dawned on me that I hate about this game is how inconsistent the damage you do is. Like, there's just way too much randomness to it. I feel like I never know how much Rohan is going to do. He could do 59, he could do 1, he could do 120. Like, regular hits and critical hits are one thing, but there just seems to be so much RNG to the battle system in this game. Like, I just never know how much damage I'm going to do. And I don't like that. I don't think I realized how much I hated it until now. Unless maybe I did, I don't remember. But alright, I didn't use that. The damage potions are like the worst defender. Like, they seem like they can just do any amount of damage. They can even do more than what is advertised. I can't remember any other like RPG that had that level of randomness. Usually in an RPG, like a traditional, console RPG or PC RPG or whatever, you you have a set amount of damage that your character does, and the enemy has a set amount of defense. So every time you attack that enemy, you'll do about the same amount of damage, barring like some critical hits or maybe a little randomness here and there. But here it seems like you can just attack the same enemy, and do wildly different damage, amounts of damage every single time. And it can be pretty frustrating. It seems like there's just way too much luck involved. Alright, so we got a bit of a walk to get over to the next fairy thief fight. It's really convoluted how we got to get there. We did pass her. I don't know if we actually, if it was on screen. I didn't point it out, I don't think, but you have to walk through the basement to get to her though. So let me get the basement. Wait, I guess it's not really that far. It's just kind of convoluted. Alright, I gotta go this way. Getting good experience at least. That's the one nice thing about being underleveled, is that the enemies will give good experience. So I don't feel like I'm wasting my time fighting them. Like if I grinded a lot, the random encounters that we pick up on the way would feel they'd feel a lot more pointless. Alright, there she is. The annoying thing is we're gonna have to walk back now. For the third fight. So again, I'm assuming we get her down to half. Let me top off like Nipsey. I have so many potions, I might as well. Talenium Velm. Okay. I don't know why I used that one. Okay. I'm glad you don't have a limit on like how many things you can have in your inventory. Fairy Thief cracks a sardonic smile. So you tracked me down, still itching for a fight. How charming. Come and get it. By that I mean that, it limits the number of a certain item you can have, but it doesn't limit the amount of items that you can have, as far as I know. It might be, but I've never hit it. Rohan should do damage if he can. Talenia can do the slow potion. That worked really well last time. Not as lucky this time. It's fine. We're hasted and we got the shield on. Critical hit 43. Jeez. Do the coma potion. Alright. Should be smooth sailing from here now. Dang, that does really good damage. I'm about to have everybody throw those. Jesus, 151. Yeah, that's really good. She's probably about to die. I'm gonna top off though, just to be safe. Probably only needs to do 27, so let's give him a chance. He doesn't do it. Cool. Oh wow. Alright. I thought for sure it would be 600. I don't think this is the full fight. Maybe it's 500. Maybe it's 400. Let's see. Last time I think it was 900, so maybe I guess 300 would make sense because it's 3/4, so now down to 1/4. It's kind of annoying though, because that's like basically the whole fight at that point. I wonder if we're gonna get another store anytime soon. Really love to buy some more hurricane potions. Now I'm thinking, does it actually top off the amount of potions you can have, or does it just add another slot for them? I don't know. I don't remember. Or is it 400? Alright. Maybe last time we got her down to 800. I don't know. I didn't see how much damage it did on the last potion. The fairy thief stumbles back, up against the wall. She snarls, "You think you're getting tough, huh? You're never getting into that castle alive, and you're never getting the key back from me." She flies up to the ceiling and opens a trap door, then flies out. And now we gotta walk. That was a good amount of XP at least. We should hit another level on our way back. Well, maybe not, but depending on how far away she is, I don't actually know. I didn't look ahead to see where her last fight is. I thought that you healed as you walk, but that's not happening right now. Is that not in this game? I could have swore that was a thing. Whoops. This is what happens when I don't have the map for this area pulled up. Alright. Jelly Neo has plastered all over the site. No NFTs. And I agree. That is why we are finishing up the series, and then I will be on hiatus for a while. Alright, I really wish I knew if we were going to get more hurricane potions anytime soon. Because I don't want to use them on regular enemies unless I know I can stock up on them again. They're really good though, they do a lot of damage. Assuming they hit properly. Alright, let's use like a frost potion. Perfect. Alright, let me see where we are here. Oh wow, we have a long walk. At least it looks long on the map. Maybe it won't be so long in practice. I remember this area now that I'm looking at the map though. I remember seeing this map anyway. I used to just like look at the maps when I was a kid all the time, even without playing the game. Like I feel like I looked at the maps more than I actually played the game. Because I just loved like looking at the worlds and stuff. Makes me like wish I had like a proper JRPG game when I was a kid, because I was like so into this one. I'm sure like if I would have had any other JRPG on like GameCube or Game Boy Advance or whatever, like I would have loved it. But I just, for whatever reason, like never got it. I guess probably just a lot of the games I got were because they were games my parents played, because my parents were pretty young. So they would, you know, play games too, and I guess they probably just weren't into those kind of games. I had Pokemon, and I was really into Pokemon. But I feel like if I had like any Final Fantasy or something like that, like I would have been so into it. There also just like weren't a lot of them on the GameCube, I guess. But there were plenty on the Game Boy Advance. But I just never really had any. I had all the Zeldas and the Marios and games like that, which I do love. So can't really complain there. I'm just thinking about it because like I'm getting like nowadays I'm getting really into JRPGs, like for the first time. Like I played this one, you know, and I played like the Paper Marios and Super Mario RPG, and I played I never had Mario and Luigi. I played Pokemon. But never anything outside of that. Like none of the big JRPG franchises outside of those. Like Final Fantasy or Dragon Quest or like I don't know, anything like that. But now I'm getting a lot into them, and I just keep thinking like, you know, if I had these games as a kid, I probably would have got into these a lot earlier because I would have loved them as a kid, for sure. But I still have plenty of great games growing up, so um, can't complain there. Lots of games that are still some of my all-time favorites to this day. Whoops, I got lucky there. Like Pokemon and Zelda and Mario, 3D Mario games specifically. Never really got as much into the 2D ones. Probably because like Mario 64 was like one of my first games ever, so that's kind of just where I started. I'm gonna focus on these guys because they do a lot of damage. So yeah, I was into. Still love a lot of those games. Come on, there we go. I've recently gotten started getting like modded Game Boys and Game Boy Advances and Game Boy Colors. Like I just have like just one of each. I don't know why I said multiple, but those are game changers. Like I got a modded Game Boy Advance and a modded Game Boy Color with large backlit screens, and I got EverDrives for them. Like not just now, but just like over the last like year or so, I've slowly gotten them. And I mean, it's just so nice. Like, it's like how I remember the games, you know? Because playing on a Game Boy back in the days, like, in hindsight, sucked because it had no backlight and you couldn't see the screen. But I didn't know any better, so I didn't care. But, actually playing them on like a larger backlit screen now is it just breathes new life into them, and it's great. And having the EverDrive is really nice because then I don't have to carry or I don't have to swap my games around. I can just have them all on the one thing. I still like having some of the physical games, but now I just keep them for display purposes instead of actually using them. And it's nice because I can lend them to people if I want, because I have my EverDrive, so I don't need the actual cartridge to play it. So like even if I'm looking to play it soon, I can still just lend it to somebody else to play. It's nice. I don't know why there's just maybe the like pandemic fueled it, but there's just been like a big resurgence in like, or not a resurgence, I guess like a surgence in Game Boy modding. Like it just like blew up all of a sudden, which is nice because that means there's lots of nice screens coming out for them, lots of good mods coming out. I wonder if we'll see something similar in the future with like 3DS and stuff once those become nostalgic. I'm sure there's lots of cool things you can do to those. Man, I just remembered, like it just sprung into my mind because I'm thinking about these things now. How like they mentioned they were going to try to bring Neopets to the Switch. Like, what did they mean by that? There's no way they meant that they were going to. Like, I know I talked about that in an earlier episode. Like, basically, just somebody from the Neopets team said that they were looking to bring Neopets to Switch, and it was very vague. Like, what could they have possibly meant by that? Because the Switch doesn't have a web browser, and if it did, then you don't need to bring Neopets to Switch. It can just be on the Switch. There's no way that they were talking about like making a new Switch game that's based on Neopets, because I mean they can barely like do anything with the site. There's no way they could afford to make a whole game, I'm sure. So I wonder what they meant by that. Maybe the like mobile app that they've talked about before that I'm sure they're quote unquote working on. Um I don't know if it'll ever actually come out. I'm sure that I don't mean that they're not working, and I'm sure they are, but it just seems like a lost cause at this point. Like with how long the Psycho version is taking, I don't see how anything else is going to come out. But I wonder whatever that app is, if they were talking about just bringing that to the Switch or what. Because that could be a possibility. There's not a lot of apps on the Switch, but you know they exist. Like stuff that comes from like a lot of mobile games do come to the Switch at some point. A lot of just like I wouldn't really think of that as like a game though. I mean, like Neopets, I guess, is a game, but I would think of it more as like the Twitter app or something like that, like where you're just accessing a website instead of like its own standalone thing. And there's not a lot of stuff like that on the Switch, but there are some, like the Hulu app or the YouTube app, stuff like that. So maybe that's what they're talking about. Avoid Danger 3. How come those ones didn't get special names for every single skill? And the rest of them, did they just like go down the list and they got to the bottom two and they were like, this is getting kind of exhausting. Let's just call it 1, 2, and 3. What's really getting exhausting is this Fairy Thief. This is taking forever. This is about to be like the second full episode dedicated to the Fairy Thief, which is like an hour of our time. And then we got to do the Pant Devils, which I don't think will take as long. First of all, there's only 2 of them. I don't remember how far apart they are. I do feel like this is a part of the game where they're starting to like pad it out a little more. You know, like they were just kind of like running out of time and they needed to get the game out, and you know, they were just padding it out. Like you fight the Fairy Thief 3 times and you fight the Pant Devil 2 times, and even the final boss you technically fight 2 times, which that one is fine. Like I think that one's pretty cool because they're different enough from what I remember. But it definitely gets a little bit repetitive. Whoops. I meant to do my spray of arrows. Alright, let's focus on somebody else. Because that Bionic Psybunny is focused. Which means it's not going to take any damage. Hardly. But it's also not going to do much damage. It still does a lot. It does way more than it can take, which is not really fair. In my opinion. I wonder if the enemies themselves have like levels. Like behind the scenes. Like I'm sure obviously they have stats, but like do they actually have a level assigned to them? Like are these like level 50 enemies or something? I wonder. I usually just would determine their strength by their HP. Because it's really the only, I mean, that's the only stat we get from them, so there's not really anything else to go off of. These guys have been pretty, the Dark Generals have been pretty, not much of a problem. They've been pretty easy to deal with, haven't given us much trouble. Alright, Rohan and Talinia. So we got 3 of them at 52, 1 of them at 51. Jelly Neo recommends what was it? 54. So we're only a couple levels under. So I feel like this will be fine. If we do die, I don't think the walk back is actually that long. Because most of the walk here come from running all over the city. But I'm assuming we would just go right to the 3rd fight. So it would just be a straight shot from the last city, which was a bit far, but straightforward walk, at least. So I would just get back off camera or whatever. It wouldn't take too long. Oops. Oh, okay. All right, let's do this. I mean, last time, well, we were perfectly fine, so. The fairy thief watches grimly as you approach. So you found me again. Well, this will be your last stand and your last battle. I'll make sure of that. Yeah, as we almost killed you. And we would have if you didn't run away. Let's see, slow. Perfect. That slow, like, is really essential. I'm gonna go for I'm gonna do that one. Might regret that. Okay, now I can heal. Got 2 turns in a row. That's the nice thing about slowing and hasting. Yeah, that slow makes a huge difference. Because she does a lot of damage, but if she's slowed, then I can get a turn in with Velm to heal it. If she's not, she's going to be able to get like 2 hits in before I can heal it. So it's a real game changer. And then Velm usually is getting an extra turn where he can throw a damage potion and it does ridiculous damage. So that's really essential. And that did full damage. That's really nice. I should probably use the damage potions. Talinia also. Talinia is really the only one. So let me use one of these, because I never do. I just said I should use the damage potion, and then I didn't. And then I didn't again. I'm on like autopilot here. Okay. Now I'll do the damage. And of course it doesn't work. Okay. No damage. Dang. Okay. Dang. Resisting everything all of a sudden. Not slowed. Do I want to bother slowing again? She's so far, like, to the end. The big thing that makes her not nearly as hard as a lot of other bosses is that she's not healing. That's been pretty much the big difference, I think, between all of the bosses I've had trouble with and the ones that I haven't, have been whether or not they can heal. If they can heal, it can turn into a nightmare real fast. Like Hubert Knox. Because he could just heal for like 2 turns in a row and heal like 300 HP back. And then it would take me forever to do that amount. Yeah, this has been pretty easy though. Whenever they can't heal, then like that's that. It's easy. The fairy thief slumps over, defeated. With fading breath, she says, I am now released from his grasp. I must thank you, but he will not be pleased. She grunts in pain. The towers inside are locked tight. You will need the keys. She tilts to one side and falls through a gap in the clouds, disappearing in the sea far below. The palace doors, behind where she stood, sparkled briefly. The magic wards holding them shut seemed to have dissolved. We got a ton of XP. Wow. That was a lot. Alright, let's look at that new armor. So what do we got? Sword of Dominion. Looks really good. Let's equip that. It's just a straight increase. Kavara's robe, also a straight increase. And I think that is it. So yeah, we're looking good. So let's go through the gates. And let's get my new map. Fairy Palace. Ooh, this looks like a big area. Very, very maze-like. This map is really big and really complicated, and it'll take you a while to get all the way through it. That's what Jelly Neo says. And what exactly are we even doing here? We're trying to go to the 2 towers so that we get to the Pant Devils. Okay. So I'll end here at this point. But yeah, so it looks like I'm just looking at what the game plan is. Looks like we got the 2 Pant Devils. So we gotta travel through this place and we gotta do the towers. And then after that, I think that, it's we're just pretty much going to the final boss at that point. Just two pant devils and then the final boss, basically. Um, I don't know if we're gonna get another like shop or anything like that. I don't see one on the map, so I don't know about that. I really hope we can buy some more of the damage potions at least, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens there. But yeah, I will continue this on the next one. Got 4 more bosses by my count, so I will see you guys for the next one. Have a good day.